Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our part 2 of Leading the Way for STEM, focusing in on mission and vision for integrative STEM. I'm Amanda McCammon with STEM-Centric and Keep Indiana Learning. And just for those of you that don't know, STEM-Centric is the STEM leg of Keep Indiana Learning, which Keep Indiana Learning is a statewide initiative that is actually housed through Central Indiana Educational Service Center. But Keep Indiana Learning provides resources, professional learning, and other opportunities and support for school districts and schools, educators across the state of Indiana, not just focused in on Central Indiana. Most of what we offer is free, and we do have some for-pay versions of things as well, and some customizable support too. So definitely check out our website through Keep Indiana Learning. So again, we're here representing STEM-Centric and Keep Indiana Learning, and this is part 2 of our 3-part series of Leading the Way for STEM. So I am now going to pass it over to our friends and facilitators today for the session and hand it off to Krista.
All right, thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate it. And welcome everyone to our second presentation through STEM-Centric and Keep Indiana Learning. And we're so happy to have you here today and share some of our thoughts on ways of building a robust and equitable integrative STEM experience. Our topic for today is on STEM Leadership Series is fostering a mission and vision for integrative STEM. And so as a quick refresher, or for those of us who are joining for the first time, thinking about integrative STEM, it's referring to the teaching and learning experiences that connect the concepts, the principles, and the practices of multiple STEM and non-STEM disciplines. Before we begin, we'd like to go ahead and do a quick introduction of ourselves. So my colleague, Dr. Rachel Gisa is here. And so Rachel, would you please take a moment and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Krista. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Rachel Gisa, and I'm an associate clinical professor in the Department of Educational Leadership at Ball State University. I've been there for 7 years. And prior to that work, I was an art teacher in the Indianapolis area schools for a few years, and then I joined the Department of Defense Education activity. So I was an art teacher, a school administrator, and a gifted resources specialist serving military children in Korea, Japan, and Quantico, Virginia. And I'm happy to be here with you today, and I look forward to talking with you about STEM. This is an area that I'm very interested in. Since I was a school administrator, I saw a need for STEM education and training folks in leadership for STEM, and that's why I'm here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rachel. Our other colleague, Dr. Mary Annette Rose, is not with us today, but to share a little bit about Annette. So she is an associate professor in educational studies at Ball State University. She's been teaching for 22 years, and particularly in the areas of technology education and sustainability. So Annette has been absolutely a keystone in thinking about this transdisciplinary approach of integrative STEM. For myself, my name is Krista Stith, and I am the director of the Center for Gifted Studies and Talent Development at Ball State University. I have been in this position for 5 years. So I work quite a bit with the high ability community. Prior to coming to Ball State, I was a high school science teacher. And so a lot of the classes that I taught, like human anatomy and physiology, biology, biotechnology, environmental sciences, I had the ability to use project-based learning approaches for many years. And so I was able to really kind of get an understanding of what project-based learning can look like, what integrated STEM education can look like from the perspective of a classroom teacher. So with the 3 of us at Ball State, we've been able to work together for a number of years now in thinking not only what can we do to support classroom teachers, but thinking about the whole ecosystem. So thinking about educational leaders and support staff and community members and family members and all of these different roles and how they can play a part in interweaving integrative STEM throughout the organization. If you are interested in delving deeper into the content that we are covering today, we did publish a book on integrative STEM education, and it's targeting educational leaders and teacher leaders and community leaders and stakeholders that are interested in pursuing robust and equitable STEM education. And so we talk extensively in this book about mission and vision and fostering a STEM culture, but we also talk about other areas of programming as well, such as curriculum and instruction and extended learning and infrastructure and professional learning and more. So within the 10 chapters by 16 different authors, again, if you're interested in thinking about integrative STEM education at the organization level, then this might be a good resource to check out. For our presentation today, this is going to be our agenda to understand the importance of a STEM-centric mission and vision statement for a school or a district, to identify strategies to build and sustain school, family, community partnerships in supporting this mission and vision, to familiarize with examples of mission and vision statements from other schools here in Indiana, and the constructs within the statements related to program guidance, and then to reflect upon the session concepts to develop a STEM-centric mission and vision statement. So the first thing is to really start thinking about that operational definition of a mission and operational definition of a vision. So a mission is the school or educational program's purpose. It is a public declaration of that purpose and the operational objectives and the major commitments of the school or of the district. It's really why we do what we do. The vision is the description of the school's future hopes. It is a public declaration to describe the high-level goals of that organization. And we want to think about the mission and vision very purposefully, because we really want to think about avoiding mission and vision statements that are dated. They may be unrealistic, they may be vague, and really don't provide any sort of guidance into taking action for what the school wants to do and the future hopes that are envisioned. So what we want to do with this presentation is think about how can we craft something that is authentic and honest. And so a mission and vision that is authentic and honest is really going to hold stakeholders accountable in what ways they can take action to promote positive and productive learning communities. So as we're thinking about a STEM-centric mission and vision, we also want to think about goals as well. What are the goals that we want to achieve in this organization? So a goal is going to be a desired state that the organization wants to be in. And so some of the examples of goals are listed here. First off, of course, meeting students' needs. And so these needs may vary from school to school, district to district, but some examples could be STEM literacy. So STEM literacy is a very ambiguous term, admittedly, but oftentimes it's relating to the skills, the abilities, the knowledge, procedures, concepts, practices, and even metacognitive constructs and capacities through interdisciplinary areas of study. So science, technology, engineering, math, but also arts, social studies, economics, so on and so forth. Meeting students' needs through college and career readiness. So what are they going to do after their post-secondary experience? Thinking about the personal and professional relevance. So the kind of world that our students are going to be entering after they're finished with school, what are we teaching them now that's going to have relevancy in the future? 21st century competencies could be a goal. And then also I have here mathematical thinking might be a goal, but it doesn't necessarily have to be mathematical thinking. That may be a goal for one school. That may not necessarily be as much of a goal for another school. Another school may be more interested in computational thinking or design thinking. And I've even seen the term STEAM thinking. So again, whatever that STEM-centric goal is for the school. Some other examples: attracting and retaining underrepresented populations of students in STEM, evidence-based reasoning and decision-making. And so that may be not only for students, but also for the school ecosystem as well. So educational leaders and teachers and the support staff. And then another goal could be supporting the school community ecosystem. So all of the people that are involved, all of the stakeholders involved in the school community and their relationships and their roles within that ecosystem, within that environment. So that's certainly not an inclusive list, but those are some examples of goals that could be purposefully thought about in the mission and vision. So ultimately, when we're thinking about these STEM-centric goals, a goal of our goal creation is that they're meaningful, that they're relevant, and they have utility to prepare students for the society that they're going to be going into, which arguably is going to be a scientific and technologically driven society from what we can see right now. So examples of STEM-centric terms in the mission and the vision and the goals, it can be useful to think about some of these terms when you're trying to wordsmith on thinking about integrative STEM from a program level, or even crafting mission and vision statements. So when we're creating these terms, we want to try to avoid statements that are quote unquote shallow, perhaps are more based in marketing language, or words that won't have any impact or have little impact on the program. Using these STEM-centric terms, they really need to be purposeful, and they really need to be thoughtfully reflected upon to make sure that the terms that are used in the mission and vision are going to be aligning with the goals of the organization. So from here, one of the things that we want to think about is, why is a STEM-centric mission and vision important? So if anybody has a comment that they'd like to make, either in the chat or would like to verbally share, we would love to have some input. Why is a STEM-centric mission and vision important, if it is important? And then Rachel, if you could be so kind as to monitor the chat for us. Okay, so moving on, these are some examples of why we have, with our lens, and we feel that the mission and vision are important. So some examples: promoting shared understanding among organization stakeholders. A STEM mission and vision develops and communicates a school identity, especially related to STEM or STEAM. Guides goals for the present and future. Develops accountability measures. Informs a continuous improvement and innovation. And promotes integration and integrativeness across disciplines. So of course, there may be other reasons as well, but these are some of the areas that we feel should be highlighted for developing a STEM mission and vision within the organization, whether it be the school or district. So when we're talking about schools and districts and their organizations, like perhaps nonprofits, these can be very complex systems. And so it can be very overwhelming to think about a STEM mission and vision and how it can be interwoven throughout the organization to develop this culture, or to take action with the various goals. So our recommendations are listed here. So we can think about the mission and vision as impacting the culture. Right below mission and culture here, we have equity, diversity, and inclusion. So how the mission and the vision can make an impact on the equity, diversity, and inclusion of an organization. The infrastructure and programming. So for instance, if there is funding available to refurbish a classroom, thinking about how the mission and vision can help to guide a makerspace or an innovation lab or spaces within classrooms for students to be able to perhaps tinker or create or be innovative. Certainly the curriculum could be an important area where the mission and vision can help drive the curriculum that has a heavy lens in thinking about integrativeness of different disciplines together. Instruction, so perhaps project-based or problem-based or design-based pedagogical approaches. Extended learning, so what happens before school, after school programs, clubs, teams, perhaps STEM days. What kind of opportunities can the mission and vision help to support STEM outside of the typical classroom environment? Professional learning, so what kind of learning opportunities for teachers, for support staff, or community members in regards to STEM education. Assessment, so perhaps thinking about alternative assessment approaches for understanding the mastery of students in STEM and non-STEM disciplines. And then lastly, evaluation. So thinking about how the mission and vision and what evaluative components can be integrated within to make sure that integrative STEM is impacting in the ways that the school and the people within the school are envisioning that integrative STEM approach. So continuing along with this graphic organizer, so here are those recommendations on the side of thinking about a STEM mission and vision. But then as we are moving along, we recommend that interweaving the STEM mission and vision in these areas should be collaborative in nature. So that collaborative component is incredibly important to get the school or the district in a better position for a coherent integrative STEM program that will ultimately lead to career and college readiness and STEM literate citizens.
Thank you, Krista. So we now pose the question, who should be a part of the team to create a STEM-centric mission and vision? So this is something for you as a teacher, as a leader, as a pre-service educator, or someone in a different organization to consider who should be a part of the team to create a STEM-centric mission and vision. If you have thoughts about this, please feel free to add them into the chat and we'll move on and talk about these different ideas of who could be a team member. Okay, thank you, Krista. Next slide. All right, so when we're thinking about who should sit in the leadership team or an advisory council or a school-based team for school improvement, here are some different ideas of who should be a part of that team in determining goals and mission and vision statement ideas for STEM literacy. So we're looking at STEM-centric mission and vision statement development. And here we offer 3 recommendations, and that would include a district leader. So district leaders could be superintendents, assistant superintendents, curriculum directors, assessment directors, supervisors of student support services. And those folks who are part of the team from the district level can provide ideas about what they're looking for as an entire district rather than a single school, or what cohesive programs should be set in place district-wide and how that mission or vision can support that. And then with the school leaders, that includes principals, assistant principals, deans, or other school level leaders. Those leaders can really help in driving a cultural change or shift in a school. So school leaders, such as principals, can facilitate and foster integrative STEM programming in schools. So that's an important piece to consider in having that leader sit at the table. And that's something that we highlight in the book that we're discussing. Then a STEM teacher. So when we say a STEM teacher, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a teacher that only teaches STEM, but it could be a teacher that teaches within the STEM disciplines or content areas. So we want to have STEM teacher representation in that team to have that STEM-based perspective. And then we offer 4 more ideas of leadership team members. This could include a student support specialist, so that could be a social worker, a school counselor, a school psychologist, someone who focuses on supporting students not only in their academic and career and college readiness needs, but also their social, emotional, and mental health needs. Students, we want to have student voice and engagement in all school-wide activities and decisions in order to ensure that we're best meeting our students' needs. Caregivers could include parents, family members, and other parental type figures that are caring for the students, and having that caregiver voice is very helpful because that helps bridge that home school community partnership that we're always looking for, that family school partnership or the home school community partnership is what can really build bridges to allow students learning in school to go home and then also to support the community. And then business and industry partners. So in order to help students prepare to be career and college ready, it's great to give them access to opportunities and insights into the many business and industry opportunities that are in their area. So having that voice of what are the areas of need in terms of the workforce is very helpful. Then we offer 4 final ideas for leadership team members, and all of these ideas are also listed in our book in chapter 2. So community partners could include folks who serve in organizations or nonprofits within the area. They may have resources to share with the school, or they may have internship or externship opportunities for students to engage in. Higher education could include faculty from higher ed, also graduate students or undergraduate students, and really just having the partnership within a college or university can be beneficial in knowing how best we can prepare students for their college level experience in thinking about this STEM-centric mission and vision. School staff would include folks who aren't teachers or aren't leaders, but are integral in being a part of the school. So that could include secretaries, educational technologists, officers of different levels, custodial staff, etc. So having those folks involved in the conversation can really help build a school-wide initiative in focusing on this STEM-centric mission and vision. And then with having a non-STEM teacher sit at the table, that really promotes this idea of integrativeness, which is our key focus. Integrative STEM not only includes STEM disciplines, but it includes non-STEM disciplines such as arts, humanities, social sciences, etc. And it's important to have those folks at the table in order to ensure that that integrative perspective in STEM is present. So here we're focused on providing some key steps into how to create and foster a mission and vision statement. And these steps are also provided in chapter 2 in the book. So in the first step, we highlight the importance for the team to review the current culture. It's important to know what culture is currently present within the school in order to know how to drive ideas to shift where the culture currently is at. So reviewing student data, thinking about the current mission and vision are very important pieces to that. Then the team can seek input via surveys and focus groups with stakeholders to gain more insights into what are the key needs in the school and how can we focus on STEM-centric mission and vision statements within the school. And then we want to develop and share and refine the mission and vision statement that the team creates. So thinking about the areas of STEM literacy needs and the areas of community needs and business and industry partner needs will really help in developing that mission and vision statement. But we also want to make sure that it is shared with our stakeholders and we get input from a variety of stakeholders, including those who are traditionally unheard. So it's important to have surveys or focus groups to get input from them about this and make some adjustments to the mission and vision statement based on that feedback. Then we want to finalize and publicize the mission and vision statement. So seeking endorsements by the school board and sharing this mission and vision statement with families, school, and community partners is critical to ensure that the mission and vision statement is well known and there is a collaborative, cohesive focus on coming together to meet the students' needs and focusing on this STEM-centric mission and vision. So now we're going to share a few examples of STEM mission and vision statements from a variety of schools in the state. And the first one is from North Posey High School. The vision statement is North Posey High School strives to implement a fully integrated STEM learning community, which engages all students in college and career preparation. So in this vision statement, they include the words integrated, college, and career. So those are some key words. Also, there's an important aspect where they're focusing on inclusivity by mentioning all students. For the mission statement, they write, North Posey High School STEM strives to equip our students with the communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creative skills needed to navigate our technological world to solve current and future problems. So in this mission statement, the school has included what we call the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. They're also focused on preparing students for the technological world, and there is a focus on problem solving. So those are some key parts when we're thinking about STEM mission and vision statements to consider when we look at these other examples. The next group comes from Whitney Young Early Childhood Center. The mission statement is, Whitney Young Early Childhood Center, following the Reggio Emilia philosophy, while also integrating STEAM education, seeks to ensure student achievement by providing a nurturing environment which all children are valued, respected, and encouraged to construct knowledge through guided exploration and social interaction as they discover the joy of learning. So in this mission statement, again, there's a focus on integrating, but they've included the word STEAM instead of STEM, which is great. Integrative STEM or integrative STEAM is really focused on providing that integrative perspective in including the arts and other humanities areas in STEM education. There's also a focus on social interaction for students, where we want students to engage with one another and learn new communication and critical thinking skills. Something that I really enjoy in this statement also is that we're focused on allowing students to discover the joy of learning. So we want them to have fun and engage and enjoy what they're doing. In the vision statement, Whitney Young Early Childhood Center is building a STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math culture that inspires and cultivates the next generation of problem solvers, inventors, and leaders. So again, we have focus on problem solving, but also in this statement, the idea of developing inventors and leaders is mentioned. In Bailey STEM Academy, the STEM vision is, the vision of Bailey STEM Academy is to prepare, inspire, and create 21st century scholars who will lead through collaboration, problem solving, and innovation. So in this statement, there's a focus on 21st century, but also scholars. And that's a wonderful word to allow students to have the idea that they are becoming scholars in the work that they're doing. Also, which we've seen in the other mission and vision statements, there's a focus on collaboration, problem solving, and innovation. In the mission statement, the mission of Bailey STEM Academy is to provide a safe and orderly learning environment that offers a unique educational experience where students grow and mature as lifelong learners in the world of STEM education. I love the idea of lifelong learning, and that should be a goal that we want all students to have throughout their PK-12 experience. But also it's important that in this mission statement, they focus on safe and orderly learning environment. And within STEM, things can be messy. There's a lot of different materials and tools and resources students can use, but we want to ensure that students are safe in the work that they're doing. And in our book, we do have a chapter related to infrastructure and programming, and that's an important piece to have a safe and orderly environment. And we want students to engage in a diverse way with different learning resources through that. Right. And the last mission and vision example that we're going to look at is from Eagle Elementary School. The motto here is Cultivate Curiosity. The mission and vision includes, through an integrative elementary STEM program, all students will be able to, 1, identify a problem, 2, generate ideas and solutions, 3, test ideas and collect data based on that idea, 4, defend the worth of their ideas. So here we're focused on 1, cultivating curiosity, which is a wonderful group of C words. And also here they're focused on identifying a problem, solving a problem, and using a type of design thinking process to generate ideas and test those ideas. Here we pose the question, in what ways can we build stakeholder engagement to promote integrative STEM programming? And while I go over the next couple slides, please consider this question. All right, so when we're thinking about building stakeholder engagement, a key first step is to raise awareness for engagement. And stakeholders can include the folks that we listed in the leadership team, but also we want to broaden this perspective of school stakeholders to make sure that we are providing an inclusive environment for all students to have a voice, all teachers to have a voice, all parents and community partners to have a voice, and leaders as well to have a voice in this work. So in our book, we also provide examples and ideas of how to raise awareness and how to engage stakeholders in this important work for promoting the mission and vision of the school and think about STEM-centric goals that can support this. In raising awareness, newsletters are very helpful, and these could be parent created, student created, or school created. Press releases to promote interesting and exciting opportunities and experiences students have had in STEM learning. A call out for engagement where we're asking stakeholders to be a part of this work and join us perhaps for a robotics tournament. Websites and social media, so photographs and updates via websites and social media of STEM-focused activities can be promoted that way. And school disseminated publications, perhaps there's a student newspaper that's created or a yearbook that could share information about the STEM work that's being done within the school. In the second step, we talk about preparing for engagement. It's important that we think about when stakeholders are engaged in this work, how can they engage and how can we best prepare them to support the STEM-centric mission and vision work that we're trying to get out there. So assessing risks and potential hazards is critical. So safety is always important, and communicating those safety policies is critical. And that can be verbally and written in written format. And we need background checks sometimes from stakeholders who aren't currently a part of the school and engaged in that work. Stakeholders can also benefit from having tutorials and training in the work that they're doing to support these STEM-centric ideas. Establishing reporting measures is helpful in making sure that we gain feedback and ideas for ways to improve the process, and anticipating barriers or risks that may be coming up because of the work that we're doing, and including these stakeholders is important as well. Here in step 3, we're focused on offering community-based events. So thinking about best ways to engage stakeholders could include career fairs, science fairs, volunteer opportunities, community service, food banks, partnerships, and sponsorships. And we provide a detailed list in the book about some other ideas such as invention conventions that could be a part of this. In the fourth step, it's very important to celebrate and highlight the community engagement and partnerships that are developed. So that could be through having group celebrations, cultural celebrations, having shared partnerships, and recognizing the volunteers who have provided resources, ideas, and materials to support STEM-centric work at the schools. And in the fifth area, we focus on creating platforms for stakeholder insight and feedback. And this could include quarterly forums, summits and conferences, steering committees, and school advisory councils to ensure that we are focused on continuous school improvement and providing the right resources, materials, and ideas for stakeholder engagement to ensure that this is truly a partnership.
All right, thank you so much, Rachel. That had some great content for us to think about integrative STEM and the mission and vision to foster the culture that we hope to achieve. So in summary, some of the things that we talked about, the importance of a STEM-centric mission and vision statement for a school or district. And so we talked about some of the potential goals that could be identified, such as developing STEM literacy for all students, attracting and retaining underrepresented populations of students in STEM, and supporting the school community ecosystem. Another thing we talked about were the strategies to build and sustain school family community partnerships in supporting a mission and vision. So we talked about things like raising awareness, promoting community-based events, and providing platforms for feedback for stakeholders. Another thing we talked about are examples of mission and vision statements from other schools and the constructs within the statements related to program guidance. So we provided a number of those examples, and Rachel picked out some of the key terms and key phrases that really show their very purposeful thinking in what they envision for their program. And then for session concepts, to develop a STEM-centric mission and vision statement. So we provided several prompts throughout the presentation to think about for the context of your own program. So again, the mission and the vision statements are these public declarations of why we do what we do and what we hope to achieve if we successfully fulfill the organization's mission. And in this very technologically driven world, this very scientifically driven world that we live in, we really think that the STEM-centric mission and vision can be a roadmap for educational leaders, for teacher leaders, for the support staff, for community partners, and all stakeholders to support driving STEM programming forward. So we do have one more presentation coming up, and I have details regarding that presentation in a moment, but these are some things to reflect upon prior to our third presentation. So first, what are important components of a STEM-centric mission and vision? Second, what are characteristics of an integrative STEM program? And third, what could an integrative STEM education curriculum look like? And so that third point is really driving towards what our next presentation is about, which is going to be about curriculum. So this way, thinking about what integrative STEM education curriculum can look like beforehand, that will help position your thinking into what we're going to be presenting next time. So again, these are our presenters for today. So we have Rachel here with us. Annette is not going to be at this presentation, but she'll be at the next one, and then myself. Our third presentation is going to be July 18th at 1:30 p.m. And again, the main topic of this presentation is thinking about integrative curriculum and instructional approaches. So we'll delve much deeper down into the curriculum aspects of what this could look like at the organization level. Again, if you like the content that we have talked about today, and this was just a snapshot of the work that we've done, we encourage you to take a look at this additional resource, Leadership in Integrative STEM Education, which is available through the publishing company, Rowman and Littlefield, Amazon, and Barnes & Noble, and probably a couple other places online. These are our resources for the presentation today. So we encourage you to please check out the websites of the schools that we identified and take a look and see all of the wonderful, wonderful things that they're doing in STEM education. For our presentation today, we had our STEM Synergy Coordinator, Amanda, join us. So if you are interested in reaching out to Amanda to learn more, have any questions or need some clarifications, we encourage you to please reach out to her at her email address. For our presenters today, again, we had Rachel, Annette, and myself. We wanted to thank you very much for this presentation today.